are live, and we have a world-class guest today that I want everybody. This is to hear. Today is our 40th podcast today, and I'm gonna be hosting today. And we're gonna be interviewing this person. Everybody's gonna love it. Everybody's gonna want to know his story, and it's exciting. It's exciting. So with that being said, let's go with that intro. 3, 2, 1. How are you? We have the one and only Stephen Keshi today, originally from Nigeria, killing it right now in the business. I know that you're killing it right now. That's why you're over here in the podcast. You're one of the new rock stars that we have in the company. So Keshi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rodolfo. Thank you, PHP, for having me as well. It's always good to see you, Rodolfo. You're like, on the top of the mountain here in the business. So it's always good to be able to speak to you.
I appreciate it. And by the way, we invite players, okay? So I want you to know that we consider you a player. So before we get started, and I ask you some questions to get to know you, so everybody get to know the way that you think, and what's going on with the Stephen Keshi. Tell us about you. Tell us about your upbringing. How did you grow up over there? Do you grow up in Nigeria? Or you grew up in the
US? No, I actually I was born in Brussels, Belgium. I was born in Belgium. Yeah, my dad was playing for Anderlecht at the time. So, he came to the US a few times. He played in the World Cup, 94. So a little bit after the World Cup, we moved to the US. We moved to California. So I grew up a majority of my life in California.
Oh, so people don't know, but your dad is pretty famous, right? Your dad used to coach a national team from Nigeria, right?
Yeah, he coached the Nigerian national team. He also played for the team as well.
Oh, he played for the team as well.
Yeah.
What year did he play?
Yeah, he played from the early 80s all the way to the mid-end of 90s. He actually was the captain of the Nigerian national team.
Oh, wow. So probably he watched he was playing when Maradona was playing,
he played against like Valderrama and some of those
Valderrama,
guys.
Yeah, Colombia.
Yeah,
Valderrama. Yeah, I mean, because in 1986 was when Argentina won the World Cup with Maradona, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was player.
We don't like Argentina and soccer club too much. So.
I know. I don't wanna go there. Okay, I know Nigerians and Argentinians. You guys have a history together.
It's a beef. It's a beef.
I know. So let me. By the way, I was looking right now. So this is your dad, right? This is your dad.
Yeah, that's him.
Amazing, man. So tell us about. Okay, so you were born in Belgium.
Yeah.
And then what happened? And then you came to California.
We came to California. We grew up in the Bay Area. I got 3 sisters and a brother. Very, very tight family. My dad used to really keep us, private. Very tight. Very, he had a fear of the way media portrayed certain things. So he always wanted to make sure we were protected in all ways. But very strong upbringing, very strict. Very strict, and we grew up with a strict upbringing.
Discipline and everything to the max.
Super disciplined. School. You got to do good at school. Like most Nigerian parents, right? We got a few options here. You can be a doctor, engineer. Traditionally it's a few options that they want you to get into.
So
things have changed now. That was in the past.
So how about you? Did you play sports?
I did play sports. I played soccer and I played American football.
Good. Anything professional?
No, I didn't play professional sports. No.
Did your dad want it to be professional or no?
I'm sure he would want all of us to be professional. My sister was actually a really good player. She tore her ACL in high school, got to college and tore it again, but it's a rock star, center back. I was very competitive as well. We played competitive sports all throughout. I was always competitive. As you know, I'm still very competitive right now. I'm more competitive, more so in terms of anything I want to do, I just must win. I just must be on top. But I didn't necessarily have a competitive want to be competitive in actual sports for a whole life. Does that make sense? I wanted to create change and influence and be competitive in that nature.
So before we go into the business, tell me about because my dad, so I used to swim. So I would say competitive swimming, right? And so I have the coach. I have my own coach, but I have my dad too. And usually sometimes my dad was tougher than my own coach. So
That's what my dad was.
so I wanted to, so how was growing up with him? Was he like I know he wanted you to go to school, but was he, I know discipline, but what was it? I mean, did he want you to always be number one? Does he want
100%. 100%. It was all about mentality. Like my dad used to always say this quote, people don't have to believe in you for you to succeed. When you succeed, they'll believe. So everything with my dad was work ethic, going hard every day. So even when we were young, he would take me and my sister to the park. I'm talking about sometimes it'd be freezing cold. Every day we'll go to the park, we'll work out, and it was a very hardcore approach. It wasn't like the sweet kind. So he was very big on preparing us for just life. He used to always say, look at the color of your skin. You think they're going to be easy on you in life, so you better get tough now. And that was the mentality. I'm going to prepare you for life. So there's none of that soft stuff here. And that's just how he raised us. And I appreciate it more than ever now because I understand it now. As you get older, as you get to an adulthood, you understand.
Yeah, because it's not easy, especially him was an immigrant and you over here with your dad being famous and everything. You have what you call it? They call it big shoes, right?
Yeah, big pressure.
So before we go, let me get to know you a little bit better too. Okay, so how people said. Let me tell you about that. How we know the Nigerian soccer players, strong. Okay, they are probably one of the strong. They're fast. One of the stronger, like you don't want to face like a Messi. He doesn't want to face a Nigerian. You know what I mean?
We're looking to break his leg.
Of course they will because they're strong and they're fast and they know they run. Like I know I used to watch this from Cameroon, right? I used to watch Eto'o, right? Samuel Eto'o when he used to play in Barcelona. I used to watch him and I used to say, nobody can catch this guy. Nobody can catch him. His legs I used to watch Okocha playing. I was insane. Very
elegant player.
Elegant, yes. He was like the Beckenbauer of Nigeria. You know 100%,
what I mean?
100%. So your dad is competitive. If not, he wouldn't be a player and the soccer coach. So were you born like that? Do you consider yourself, you know what, I was born like this, or you were more like you were built like through your dad, through your environment? What do you think?
I want to say I was built into it. With a small dose of having it in me as well. But I always tell people, when you're born, everybody's born with a purpose and a particular mentality. And there's two things that can happen. You can either get closer to whatever that mentality is, or you can get further away from it. And it's based on environmental conditioning. The things that people are saying to you, the things that you're seeing as an example, the things that you continue listening to, the things that you read, the things that you say to yourself. Does that make sense? So I mean to say I had the competitive edge, but my dad really brought it out. Sports really brought it out. Does that make sense?
Were you a good student?
I was pretty good. I was a pretty good student, B range. I had to be, my parents didn't play around with school. So I was a knucklehead growing up, so I got into some trouble. But one thing I didn't mess with was school. My school was always okay.
So what happened next? Okay, so you grew up. You have the three sisters. One of them is very competitive playing. Which number are you? Are you younger? The oldest?
I'm the fourth. I'm the fourth one, and then my brother is the youngest. Yeah, my three sisters are the oldest.
And it's you, and then you have a younger brother. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're the older boy.
Yes.
Okay, so you go to college. You graduate from college. You go to college or no?
Yeah, I went to Morehouse College. You already know the house.
What's the major? What was your major?
I was a sociology major. Honestly, I picked sociology because I knew I could finesse a little bit. Sociology is one of those subjects where if you could prove you're right, you get it right. So I was very good at proving my point. So it was really one of those things where I really didn't know what I wanted to do with college, but I felt like sociology, learning about people was really interesting. And the fact that they give me the flexibility and openness to prove my answer, I was like, man, I can do this. So, I got through college through sociology. I mean, I loved it. I love Morehouse though. Morehouse is a different type of school, man. Everybody who's coming out of Morehouse, the way that we build together and can still keep in communication, that circle is something different.
I will never guess that you studied sociology, ever, ever guess. So, and then are you single? You married? You have kids?
No, I got a beautiful girlfriend. She owns a hair salon here in Buckhead. Brianna, I'm sure everybody knows about. I mean, everywhere. If you see me, you're gonna see her. So we have a very special relationship where we do everything together. That's really my best friend. Been together for for 3 years now.
How do you meet her? Is she also Nigerian or no?
No, she's from the islands.
From
the
island. Okay, good. How do you guys meet?
Huh?
How do you guys meet?
Oh, we met because I used to be in the nightlife space. So before I got into this space, I was in nightlife. I did event production, brand activations. I threw parties. So I met her actually at a Sunday brunch I was doing. And she came and, we kind of connected there. And then she came back another night. And then, the rest was history.
Brother, we're getting to know you here. I didn't know that kind of stuff. So we're getting to know you. I love it. We're profiling you. Getting to know you as a player. So anyway, okay. So you go to college, you study sociology, you're dating. So when does PHP comes to you? Why PHP? I mean, were you working in it? What were you doing before?
I was in nightlife when PHP came to me during COVID.
So what does nightlife has to do with sociology?
Nothing. Well, I guess the study of how people act in club settings, maybe. Good. But I never used the degree. Honestly, I don't even know where that degree is, man. The last time I used it, I think I used it for like a mouse pad or something on my laptop a long time ago. I haven't used the degree. I just always been big in doing parties and events. Back in California, I did parties with this guy named Dage, really good friend of mine. Talib, another guy, really good friend of mine. And we did parties together. And then when I came to Morehouse, I just kind of brought the trend over, and I got challenged by a counselor one day. And he says, man, I want you to do something for the school, something social that people can do. And I was like, okay, well, let's do a concert. He was like, man, that's regular. Think outside the box. So I said, okay, let's do a play. So I did a creative play production. It was like dancing. It was theatrical. It was crazy. Like, 1,200 people ended up coming. I did it with one of my friends, Stacy, and Spike Lee ended up showing up randomly, and Candy Burris.
Get out of here.
And it was huge. It was huge. So after that, I was like, man, I think I could do this event stuff. So I got into events after that. And I was in events for that for 10 years straight. I was doing events, and we did some prolific events. We shaped a lot of the nightlife culture here in Atlanta. I was even the first person to do this party called Versus. That's for a different day, but that Versus party, you stole it. We know
What's
it.
What's the name? Diverse?
Versus. So it's a party we did where we put an artist against another artist, and it was like a playlist type party. We did it during before COVID happened at my homegirl's Snoop's restaurant and 2 Chainz restaurant called Escobar in Atlanta. So we did that party there, and all of a sudden.
Why Escobar? Because
Escobar. Why Escobar? That's a good question. I don't know why they call it Escobar, but it's a nice restaurant. The food is good, and they have a whole bunch of portraits of Escobar and stuff like that. Pablo Escobar. So my nightlife has been going on for a long time, but when COVID happened, man, honestly, that year that COVID happened, I was just going to quit nightlife.
This is Atlanta. You mentioned you're in Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta. Yeah, man, I was tired of nightlife. I was like, man, I'm a person that really wants to provide influence, man. I've been like that for a long time, like since I can remember, 17, 16. And I did events. And I got to the point where I was doing events where it was just about influence. How can we, help people, and how can we bring people together? How can we elevate our community? Then I got to a point where I let the money kind of take me away from why I started to build in events. And then I started doing weekly parties at clubs. So I found myself in a space where, like, man, I let the money be the sail to the boat. And I always tell people, if it's just money, and it's hard to really grow as a person if all you're doing is just following money.
That mean that you were like at the beginning, you wanted to do something and then all of a sudden you changed and you went to the money. Like
I went to the money. I got to the club life, weekly life parties, and the money was really good and quick. And then, I started getting to the space where it's like, man, this ain't my purpose. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And it got me to a point where I used to go to the parties and just really not be happy. I just was not happy for a long time. And then I said, you know what? I talked to my girlfriend. I said, this is the last year I'm doing this party stuff. I'm gonna make all the money I can from this party. I don't know what I'm doing next, but I'm gonna take that money and do something else with it. And then,
how much money will somebody do that? Like make, like if you don't mind me asking you, like
you said what?
How much money does somebody make? So like if they're doing the party?
Oh man, promotions. It depends on how you do it. Man, I did mine a little differently, but you can make.
If I want to become a promoter,
some people are sub promoters. Sub promoters, you're gonna make, maybe 20, 30, 40,000 a year, and then you got people who actually take the reins in promotions and they go get the contracts. They make anywhere from 100 to 300,000 a year. It just depends, but. Me personally, I was the guy like, I'm going to compete in everything, like I told you. So when I did parties and weekly stuff, I did it by myself. I didn't need to go get, 5, 10 guys to promote in a space. I go do it by myself. I do the marketing. I control my contract. I control the way I wanted to do things, control my environment. So that way I could create the experience I wanted to create. So I made more money.
How do you get paid? You get paid based on how many people show up into the party?
Sales. So in weekly, you get paid based off sales. So like whatever the sales
like do. Alcohol sales or
alcohol sales, food sales, hookah sales. Atlanta's a big hookah place. So hookah sales, you might get like 15% or 20%. But there's a restock fee. So it just depends on how you structure it.
Okay, you're doing parties.
Yeah.
You're learning as a promoter, and you can make somewhere between 30,000. You can go big. You can make 300,000, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe more if you know how to promote. Okay. So when does PHP comes? Like, have you done insurance before? I mean,
I didn't know nothing about insurance. Matter of fact, it's crazy because my pops died 6 years ago.
2016, right?
Yeah, and he didn't have any life insurance.
Are you kidding me?
No, and it was a tough time for the family because 6 months before that, mom's passed away, so it was like 6 months apart, and it was tough at that time for my brothers and sisters and I because he's a very prominent guy. He did all he could do for the country of Nigeria for sports. A lot of people don't know he was one of the first 10 to 15 African players to play in Europe. He was one of the catalysts for that. He went to go play in Europe, and he told me, I got to bring some players with me. So he was a very selfless person. So a lot of the reasons why we see Samuel Eto'o or Drogba, people like that playing in Europe is because of him. And he brought a lot of notoriety to the Super Eagles, the Nigerian style of football, the ruggedness, the toughness, Yep. That's why they call him the big boss. And when he passed away, it's like they forgot all of it. Wow. It didn't make sense to me. And, they said that they were going to do a ceremony or funeral. And then a couple of weeks before, they're not doing it anymore. They didn't have the funding for it. And a different side of me came out, and I started challenging the government. I said, this is someone who did everything they did for the country. Where is what he deserved? And we fought for that. We lost him, but we were able to bury him. Me and my brothers and sisters, we fought because he's buried in a place we can't even go see him right now. And I haven't seen my dad's gravesite since he passed away, so none of us have. So
why you cannot go?
A lot of
government stuff or issues.
A lot of inner family politics. Nigerians out there know what I'm talking about, and a lot of spiritual things and other types of things that come between us being able to go within this territory and go see him. So it's been
somebody who make that difference, especially somebody who make that difference in the country.
Absolutely.
Like the names that you're mentioning, Eto'o, Drogba. Drogba is from Cote d'Ivoire, right?
Correct.
And all these guys, they changed. I remember when Drogba used to play in Chelsea. And now I believe Eto'o is going for politics now over there in Cameroon.
Yeah, it's big in politics now. It's good to see.
Your dad has a lot of influence in that. He was one of the first ones.
100%.
And then he passed away and nothing. They don't do nothing.
I don't do nothing. You know, like even his ex-manager, you know, the paperwork for his homes, you know, he had all these properties that he wanted to transfer over to us. You know, we never got a hold of those properties. You know, the vehicles that he won when he won African Cup of Nations. You know, my dad was one out of 2 players to ever win Cup of Nations as a player and a coach, ever. And they took
everybody doesn't know the Cup of Nations. Cup of Nations is a big deal.
African Cup of Nations is a big deal. Yeah. They took everything, like literally everything he wanted to give to us. It's like he did everything he did, and he wasn't able to leave anything back for his family. So, you know, one of the reasons why I compete so hard in this business, because I have to get all that stuff back for my family.
So all of that is, you're having, all of this it's going on with you, and then you get approached to do this business.
I get approached to do this business, maybe it's been 18 months now. And it was at a point, remember when I was telling you I didn't want to do parties no more. Elvis called me, this guy named Elvis Okafor. He calls my phone. I remember it vividly. I said, man, how'd you get my number? But I respect him so much for calling me, because I was in a place where I was looking for something so bad, like something different. I wanted to get out of what I was doing, and COVID happened and a lot of confusion, man. What am I going to do next? You know, I'm having these conversations with my girl. I don't want to do this party stuff anymore. It's not me becoming who I need to be and following my purpose, these parties. And he gives me a call and he challenged me, you know, your dad this, you're in a place to, you know, regain the legacy, all that stuff, you know. And that's one thing I love about PHP, because he could have easily looked at my Instagram page and say, this guy got it figured out already. I'm not going to call him. But the way that we're challenged to challenge other people, the way that we're groomed to get outside of our comfort zone and really find the way that we're groomed not to play God. Because essentially, when you look at someone's page or you say this person doesn't work for, or this person won't like the opportunity, you're essentially playing God. And he didn't do that. He called me. That stuff's changed my life, because the way that I think is different. You know,
what did you say that did you like? What did Elvis said to you that helped you to say yes?
He mentioned my son.
Tell me about that.
I have a 4-year-old son. I'm gonna be biased. Beautiful, beautiful kid. I love my son, love him to death. And he mentioned my son. He says, you know, everything that went on with my dad, etc. He says, if everything was to stop right now, life was to, God forbid, stop for you right now, with everything that you're doing right now, be able to transfer to your son.
Yeah, he said that on the phone with you.
Correct.
Wow.
And I said, damn, nothing would. Nothing. So now, the same way things were taken from my dad, is the same way my son wouldn't have anything as well. We're just continuing the cycle.
What if he doesn't say that? What if Elvis doesn't say that?
I don't know what the hell I'm doing now. I'm probably still maybe doing, it's a good question. I don't know. Maybe I'm still doing parties. Maybe I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know. But I know I was in a place where I needed him to call me.
You know, I'm doing the meeting yesterday. And doing a meeting yesterday, we have a bunch of guests over here in the office. Office was jam-packed. Guys, we have a big office over here. People didn't fit yesterday. We have a line. A lot of people came yesterday to the meeting. And at the end of the presentation, I explained the business. I explained what we do, how we help families, how we get paid, whatever. And at the end, I said to the guys, listen, man, this might not be for you. Probably it is not for you. Okay. But let's just say you decide to say no to this. Let's say, yeah, you know what? This is not for me. Let's just say this is not for you. But this thing might be for somebody that you know can be a client. You can change the life of somebody because you decided to do this. You're going to bless, or you're going to change. I call it change, but actually a blessing. You can bless somebody's family because you got a policy, because you helped them to get a policy. If it wasn't because of you, maybe somebody wouldn't get a policy. Or maybe business-wise, you know, maybe you say, I don't know, I'm okay, I'm doing right. I don't need this business. I don't need to get into insurance and financial services and sell policies or whatever. But you might inspire somebody else that in the future is going to change their life financially because they decided to do this business. So sometimes we become, you call it play God or something. We become selfish. And we says, you know what, I don't need this. You know, this is not for me. Might not need anything like it. And you might change the life of somebody else. Like imagine that repercussions about your dad. Imagine, I don't know what Eto is thinking or Drogba is thinking or any of these guys are thinking, but they're thinking, man, there was a guy that had the courage to leave Nigeria and go and play in Europe. And because of him, hey, he shows the way to do this. And now their kids and their life is going to be changed the same as you. You know, he said, you know what? Oh, I'm going to say yes because of my son.
Yeah.
Maybe your son, because you don't want, I don't know, right? I don't know the details, but imagine your son go to school. What's his name?
Grayson.
Mm-hmm. What does your dad do? Well, he runs a club. What type of club? I don't know. Now, if somebody asks your son, what does he do? Well, he changed people's lives. He protects families. He's a business owner. He's an entrepreneur. He's making a difference. So you don't know who you're going to be changing in the future.
100%. And this is why I love the business so much, because even with my team, the team that we're building right now, everything is about crusade, because what we're doing is not just life insurance. It's about what life insurance can do for people. It's about what the business can do for people. It's crazy because people will go throughout their whole life, and at the most, maybe they'll have one person that supports them and drives them to their goal. Maybe, and that's maybe their mom. But in most cases, their mom is so busy working because of the financial situation of this country. Their mother is so busy working that they can't even drive their kid to be. So this is like the first opportunity that many people get in their whole entire life to be held accountable to the things that they say they want in life. What about the great examples of couples that we have in PHP? Do you know there's a couple out there right now, a marriage couple out right now that's going through divorce because they don't know and they don't have an example of what a good relationship should look like? There's no coaching, there's no places, no environments where they could see that. There's somebody right now out there contemplating suicide right now because nobody's pouring into them. So when you see a PHP, it's not just life insurance. We're changing lives. We're saving lives. What about the people right now who, pass away and then they leave debt back for their families? Do you get what I'm saying right here? So what we're doing here is it's far more. And this is why I love PHP and what we're doing. And our team believes the same thing. So that's all we talk about. You got your Anthony Coolises on my team and your Joshua Lanes and your Zeus Shelbys, just some psycho guys. And psycho's a good thing, by the way. But we're going to change the world. We're going to change the world. We're going to shift mindsets, of course.
Now, you okay. So Elvis called you. He tells you about your son.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with your son? Da, da, da. You decide, okay, let's jump into this. Okay. You never done this. All right. You're 31, 32 years old.
I'm 33. I thank you. I appreciate
it. You're 33 now.
33 now. I appreciate it.
Okay. and okay. And then you see this business.
But back then, yes, you're right. I was at that age.
And what happened there? How do you start it? Were you like a big player? Were you like all of a sudden you're killing it? How was it?
Man,
Elvis people say yes to you. Give me that story.
The way that I spoke to people was always crusades, what life insurance could do. So for me, it was very easy to get people.
You believe in the product. You believe in what we do.
I believe in 100%. I've seen it. I've seen what it is to go without it. I see what it could do to families. So when I speak to people from my heart, not from my head. So they feel me. They know it's not fake. So when I get people on the call, they want to get on the call. And so it happened pretty fast for me. I did 6 figures first 10 months in the business.
You make 6 figures the first 10 months?
Yeah, brand new. Didn't know anything about the industry.
Part-time or full-time? You already
kind of like part-time, because I was still kind of doing some websites and things of that nature, brand activations. But yeah.
I like it. Go ahead.
Became a broker really fast as well. And it's really just a language thing. So I spoke from a place of belief.
So tell me, okay, but I want to know, who did you call? Like you tell me, hey, I'm doing insurance now. I'm selling insurance.
It was
I'm not doing the club anymore.
it
Hey
was
guys,
a,
listen,
it
man.
was a
I'm
very
not calling you to
weird.
invite you to the club. I'm invited to settle your life insurance.
It
How
was
was
a very weird transition. Honestly, I almost quit after the first couple of weeks, actually. I
why?
almost quit after the first 2 or 3 weeks because I could not comprehend and understand how we get people from, hey, come pardon me, pop bottles to come sit down and learn about money. It's like water and oil. So I was really confused and conflicted. Like, are they even going to believe me? It was a conversation I actually had with my girl that she said, well, you was praying for something different. This is yours. Stop doubting yourself and just do it. You look what happened, with your dad and all that stuff. You have a story to tell. So that shifted. And then I started going into a place of not doubting, me based on, because I did something that was completely different, but I went into talking to people based on my story and what I've been through, my experiences. So that's where the shift came. But I was going to quit the first 3 or 4 weeks of the business, man. I was literally going to quit.
Like people close to you say no to you?
They was just saying no. I'm like, man, it was some close people to me that actually told me I shouldn't even do it. It was very hurtful for a long time. Like people that are very close to me that, we're like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to stay here. Like, and it was very hurtful in the beginning. So it took a while to get into the space where I'm like, you know what, screw it, let's go. And my girl had a lot to do with that. And also my barber Hazel had a lot to do with that too. And he was a good friend of mine.
Barber was positive or negative? Barber was
super positive. He was like, man, F all of them and what they talking about, man. They couldn't understand it. You just go do it, So it was
one thing I can tell your barber that he's doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah.
So he was positive, and your girlfriend positive.
Mm-hmm. Everybody else was like, this ain't you, Keshi. This ain't you. This is you. Sometimes people want to tell you who you supposed to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of times most people listen.
The other day, it's so powerful what you're saying, because the other day, this is not the other day, this is yesterday. Okay. We're having a meeting with Patrick, our CEO, and I'm looking at everybody. By the way, the chat is on fire. But we're having a conversation with Patrick on something called the Dream Team. This is a meeting that we do with the top performers in the company now. He says there are two phases or two types of rejection. Okay, you know how we get rejected? We always say, like, if we're starting this business, believe me, everybody's going to get rejected.
Yeah.
But there are two phases. One is the rejection when you're new, right? And the other one is the rejection when you're a millionaire. It's two types of rejection, right? And it hurts the same. And he's explaining that when you're new, you get rejected because people don't know you. People know you as a club manager. Yeah. People knew me. I'm an immigrant from El Salvador who doesn't speak English, who's working at Sears as a security guard, aka janitor. And I'm telling people that I want to do this business and I want to become successful. People reject me, and it hurts. It hurts. And it hurts, like you said, because there were people maybe you were hanging out a week prior. Yeah. And then now they're rejecting you. For me, is people close to me. They said, no, I will never buy a policy from you. I could buy anything else, but I will never buy a policy from you. Come on, Rodolfo. You don't even know English. How am I going to buy from you? So that's the rejection that people get when they're new. But there is other rejection. You know what's the other rejection? When you become ultra successful. When you're making millions, you're killing it. Like, okay, it's like imagine today I go to the place, right? I go to this place. You go into the Lambo, you go into Rolls Royce, you go into your car, and you talk to somebody, and the person drives in the Lamborghini or Rolls Royce, making a couple $1 million a year, doesn't want to talk to people because he's afraid that the other person is going to say no. So he's also afraid of rejection, because the person who already made it, or thinking that they made it, they haven't made anything. They're just protecting what they have. And so talk to me about rejection. How do you handle rejection? I know you're talking about the barber, you're talking about your girlfriend, but how about you internal? So, hey, I rejected you. This is not good for you, Keshi.
Yeah. Before I didn't handle rejection very well. I was kind of upset, man. I was like, man, what the hell? I was furious, I was, pacing back and forth, talking about girl, just rambling, like, and then I got to a point where I don't mind rejection at all anymore. I get to a point now where it's like, because I know what we do, I go into a phone call, I go into anything knowing, hey, you can say whatever you want to say. You can say yes, no, maybe so, screw you, F you. I did my part.
So your part is just to talk to that person. It doesn't matter if they say yes or no.
That's my part. I did my job. My purpose here was, I gave you the education. I gave you the opportunity. I'm going to challenge you to make sure you do it. If you end up not doing it, I know I did my part.
Good way to see it. Great way to see it. Good, man. Okay. So let's go. What if we go and answer some questions? Okay.
Okay.
By the way, people are on fire with you, brother. Like, people are liking it. This is probably one of the best podcasts. Like, people over there, like, commenting and everything. So guys, everybody listening, post over there your question. I'd like to know, what question would you like to ask today? You can ask Keshi, you can ask me, but ask Keshi and I can read the questions over here. Let me see. Any question that you'd like to ask, post it right now. There's a lot of people watching today. Good job. Okay. Let me read you some things that people have posted over here. King Keshi. They call you King Keshi? That's what they call you?
I guess so.
Okay. They said, honoring his father's legacy. Efien Obasi. Love it, man. Keshi now has both the platform and the mic to tell his story. Much respect. I love that. Keshi, how do you keep your nice beard? Marcelo, my brother. Okay, Marcelo can answer, okay? It's through his barber, which is he's positive.
Yeah,
okay?
Very positive barber has a.
Okay, good.
And some shea butter.
Good. Send it to Marcelo. Okay, nightlife is draining, somebody says. Okay, good to know. Okay. Wow, that was a fighter comp. Okay, questions are coming. Miriam Rivera says, when one door closes, the right door opens to you. Kurisha Totre says, wow, emotional versus logical. Joshua Lane said, generation hero. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, good. Okay, you guys posting your questions? Okay, there you go. Okay, question from Gotham City, okay, 54 says, how do you feel after you got your first sale? So you do the first sale. So you need to go back 2 years ago, 16 months ago.
Yeah.
You did the first sale. How do you feel about that?
This stuff works. And it wasn't like the premium amount or none of that. It was the reactions. Like when Elvis was, because this is what I like about PHP, because you earn as you're learning. Meaning, you have your license, you're doing your thing, your coach is actually running your field presentations for you. So as you're learning, you still get half of the commission and all that stuff. So I was able to earn and learn, but the most important thing that I saw was the reaction of the client.
Oh, nice.
Their mind was blown away by the information. So when I saw that, I was like, this is what the hell I signed up for right here.
By the way, is your market mostly from Nigeria, Africa, or is it?
They're all over the place. I would say my market right now is probably like 80% African-American, Black, Afro. And then of course, it's the other 20 is very, very spread over, but I would say like 80% of my clientele, the people that we reach is from the demographic.
Good, because you're killing it. Okay, very good. So I like your approach about the sale. Okay, here's another question. Melissa is asking, what's your approach for prospecting? What are you doing for prospecting? Before you answer that one, there are different ways to prospect. There is a different way to prospect. People can prospect like talking to a stranger. Somebody can prospect on social media. Somebody can prospect by branding himself. Somebody can prospect by sending direct messages. Somebody can prospect by, but how do you prospect? There is another book out there. It's called The Game of Numbers. Okay, but this is for prospecting for financial advisors, and says there are two things that are the most important thing in your business. And he says there is nothing else. It's only two most important things. One is prospecting, and the other one is nothing else. Also prospect. Okay, that's the two most important things. So how do you prospect? How you finding all these clients? How you are in the top in the leaderboard What do you do?
Social media is something big. A lot of DMs, and Instagram. I post too. Like I'm always posting something about the industry, but also something challenging. So I challenge my audience a lot.
How do you do it? So you disturb them? You disturb them. You challenge your audience.
100%. So I'll make posts like, it's interesting how, you say you're a parent and you love your kids to death, but you're walking around here without any life insurance. I'll say that's tougher stuff. I'm going to challenge you because we don't get challenged enough in our communities. I make a lot of references to, what people spend going outside and on, materialistic things versus, if they put a little bit of money into this, what it could do for them long-term and for their family. So I challenge people's thinking. So I post a lot of that. And I also post a lot of lifestyle stuff because, people just don't want to go on your page and just see all life insurance. They want to see that, how do I say it? It's not boring to be financially in tune. It's not boring. Financial literacy is not boring. It's not boring to learn about money. The reason why people love real estate a lot because they made it look sexy. So if you're out there, show a little bit of your lifestyle too. Letting people know when they're engaged with you, they're engaged with somebody that also likes to live life a little bit too, And then of course, in person, everywhere I go, I'm telling somebody about the opportunity. Everywhere I go, if it's a bar, if it's a restaurant, if it's my server, I'm always opening my mouth and I'm always starting with a compliment because there's a lot of people in this world right now that go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a whole week, and nobody gave them a compliment. Why don't you start with a compliment? People love that. Give them a compliment and let it be a real compliment. And then from there, ask, regular questions, what do you do for a living, etc. And then just build that small rapport, get their number and contact them the next day. That's literally what I do. It's really not prospecting is not a hard thing once you make it a lifestyle thing.
You know what I find out about prospecting right now? People want to talk.
Yeah.
People want to talk. That's why these podcasts are becoming such a hit because people want to talk. People want to hear. And when you go to a restaurant, talk to people. I always tell them, talk to somebody. Like you said, that person, nobody's giving them a compliment. Nobody will start the conversation with them. Sometimes we're in line, we're in a Starbucks, right? And let's just say that nobody's talking to you. You say, I wish somebody talk to me right now. I would like to talk to somebody. And what help about prospecting is being curious about people. Hey, I like the way you dress. I like the where do you get that from? Or I like your car. I like the way that you, I like the way that you serve today. I like the way that you're doing this today. And where are you from? Today, I prospected this lady. She's half Ukrainian, half Russian. Okay. So it's okay. Yeah. And it is, I'm half Ukrainian, half Russian. And guess what my next question is? Okay, what do you think about the war? And she started telling me all this story. Okay, I didn't say anything afterward. Just let her talk. She started telling me all the story about that. Imagine being half Ukrainian, half Russian. Okay, this lady from the gym, the Lifetime gym, but interesting. Okay, next question. Okay, Miguel Caminero is asking, how do you keep your level of consistency the 10 months to hit how do you hit 100K? Usually I don't, before you answer this one, when I'm talking about money, I always tell people, listen, man, you don't know the work ethic of that person. Nobody knows your work ethic. Nobody knows my work ethic. People say, oh my God, that would be easy to make $100,000 in the first 10 months. Well, you don't know the work ethic of this person, okay? Or for example, somebody sees me, oh my gosh, this guy's making a couple $100,000 a month, man. He must be, no, brother, you don't know what I went through. Or you don't know my schedule. You don't know how I work with, okay? So anyway, so how did you do it? How did you go make 100? Because somebody might be listening, might be thinking, I want to know how he did it.
And is the question coming from an aspect of if you're in the industry or just in general?
I think he's asking not specifics about the industry. I think he's asking more about, okay, but my question to you will be like this. Did you make 6 figures in the past?
Yeah, I did in the nightlife.
So what's that like your identity to make six figures?
Oh, that's every day. You know, the way I look at it is if you have to drink every day, water, if you have to eat every day to stay alive, you better get a result every day. So whatever that result is, I must get one a day. As an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, you're not getting a result a day, no matter what field you're in, it's going to be tough to be successful. Because I promise you, all the people that you're looking at, there's activity every day. There's a result every day. And I think a lot of people think that they'll just start a business and it'll just poof, it'll just happen for them. And they'll put no work, no daily work into it, no daily studying, no daily researching, no daily, nothing like that. And if you're not reinvesting time into yourself on a daily and getting result on a daily and learning something new on a daily, it's going to be tough to make it. I would say that was the recipe for me to go and do that in nightlife and then come over here and do that here so quickly, is because I wanted a result every day.
Were you self-employed when you were doing the club? So I
haven't had a job since I was 19.
Wow. So you were all full commission on the club.
Yeah. I've been on the grind ever since. I just knew I knew not to say anything is wrong with 9 to 5, by the way. A lot of people out there, if you have a 9 to 5, use it as your advantage. Do that and get entrepreneurship going. Do both. Use that income for a little bit of stability and go ahead and bang in an extra 6 or 8 hours a day and get the other aspect going. But I just didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in being salary capped. I didn't believe in being time capped. I didn't want nobody telling me what to do. I'm a very rebellious type of individual. So,
but wait, that's the reason why you make 6 figures that fast. I get it. Because, you know, I say this to people, you know, sometimes people come and I tell them, listen, if you were to put the same effort that you do in your job, you will be killing it here. So for example, I have people that said, okay, I'm going to come full time into PHP. Oh, let's do it. And the person come and said, brother, it's noon. Why are you coming at noon? Well, I'm self-employed. You cannot tell me anything. And brother, you're leaving right now at 3 p.m. I know somebody who comes at noon and leaves at 3 p.m. and you don't see this person until the next day. I said, wait. Okay, when you had a job, you used to show up on time, you used to show up in person, you show up and you used to work over there, you used to put effort. And now that you're an entrepreneur, you come at noon and you leave at 3? Come on, man.
Makes sense.
So if somebody were to put the same effort that they put in their job, they were to do it in their own business, my opinion, they will do 6 figures. 100%.
100%. I don't think people have in America, especially with a lot of jobs that people do for all those hours, it's not that people are lazy. It's just people only want to work when, and I think it's the school system. It trains you to be an employee. So you only want to work when a system is put in place for you. They're giving you a guaranteed amount of money. Even though it's a small amount of money, you're more safe with that because you know it's coming than getting out there and doing it on your own. Then as soon as you get on your own, you start working as hard, like you said, as hard as you did or as consistent as you did when you was working for the job, because they gave you that guaranteed amount of money and people get comfortable with that.
I was reading about behavioral sales, okay? Meaning what it is the way that you respond emotionally or mentally through doing sales. So you can, for example, if you get people who have a job, things like this, okay, if I do this, I'm going to get paid this much, okay? But in sales, you don't do that. In sales, you need to work with ratios, right? So let's just say somebody wants to make $10,000 a month, right? And those $10,000, in order to make $10,000 a month, let's just say I'm inventing numbers, right? You need to prospect, let's just say 100 people, right? So if you divide, so you get, let's just say 200 people, you need to talk, let's make it more realistic, 200 people. So you get the number 10,000 divided by 200, you need to speak to 200 people, meaning every person that you talk equals $50. Now, people don't think like that. People don't think, oh, let me go and talk to 200 people and I'm going to make $50. Now, but if I were to pay somebody $50,
they would call those people.
Yes, you need to, let's just say I tell somebody, listen, man, let's just say I get somebody here next to me. And I told this person, you need to, if you go and walk, I need you to go to a Starbucks right now. I'm going to pay you $50 to talk to the person serving the coffee and offering, I'm inventing, right? And offering them a life insurance policy, offering an opportunity. How many people will do it?
100%.
But they don't realize that if they were to actually talk to 200 people, I don't know the ratios, right? I'm inventing the ratios. But if they were to talk to these 200 people, they will get $10,000. So it's behavioral. It's the meaning that you do to something. Is whatever you're thinking. It's like you're saying. I believe it must be very difficult for somebody to say no to you on buying a policy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because for you, for other salesperson, and buying a policy, a life insurance policy is commission. They see dollar.
Yeah.
For you, you don't see that. For you is my dad, my mom. You know, my dad was famous. My dad is a person. You know what? How come he didn't have a policy? And nobody came and talked to my dad and advocated for my dad and helped my dad. How come? You know what? I'm a different person. Nobody's going to say no to me because I'm going to find people. I'm going to be the advocate for somebody else's family. I'm going to be the voice of that little kid that he cannot talk. He's 2-year-old. He cannot speak. He cannot talk. And the father is being cheap. I'm just giving. This person doesn't want to buy policy. You know what? I'm going to be the advocate for this kid that is 2-year-old. And his dad doesn't want to buy a policy. I'm going to make an advocate for this mother, for the sisters, for the kids, everybody.
100%.
So
That's
I
the
understand
language.
why.
That's the language, and it's not just for me. That's the language. That's when you get to a place where every day you speak the same way, you start attracting people like that. So when people ask me, why is your team moving? Because I have a team full of people that they're not thinking about the sale. They're thinking about what this thing is going to do for this person on the other side of the screen or the other side of them. Does that make sense? So it's easy for us right now to talk to anybody and everybody. You know, and that's why the firm is called Rejuvenate & Co, because somebody got to get out here and rejuvenate our community's mindsets, the way that people think, right? And I'm just super proud to have those guys on the team, and we're attracting that now. You know,
Keshi, I wanted to let you know that I'm very impressed with you. It makes sense. I'm telling you, everything makes sense for me why you're on the top in the leaderboard. Everything makes sense. Everything is not, you're thinking competitive, but you have a why, you have a reason. Somebody might be competitive with no reason. That person's going to slow down. Yeah. You know, some people have a reason, but it's not competitive. Doesn't have the fire. You're competitive with a reason. It's a powerful combination, brother. Powerful combination. So anyway, Keshi, last thoughts to everybody. Somebody might be listening out there. I don't know. Maybe somebody's from the company. Usually some people watch this podcast later. They don't watch it live. They watch it later. And they need to hear a message from you. Maybe somebody who's looking for this business. Maybe somebody who wants to make a difference. Maybe somebody's an athlete and they want to compete. What is your last message to all those people?
Our last message to everybody is that everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody has a purpose in life. And I get this a lot, and I wanted to make sure that people understand this, that you have to understand the difference between your purpose and passion. This is very important that people listen to this. You have your purpose and you have your passion. Your purpose is selfless. Your passion is selfish. And right now, a lot of people aren't doing other things that they could be doing to help their lives and help other people's lives because they say they're not passionate about it. And when you say, hey, I'm not passionate about it, you're saying, hey, I'm not going to get everything I can get from this. You're not thinking about your family. You're not thinking about your legacy. You're not thinking about the people around you. And when you get to the point where you start leading with your purpose, you start doing crazy things that you never even knew you could do. You start speaking a language that you didn't even think you could speak. You start attracting people you didn't even think you could attract. You start your bank account, everything changes around you when you say, hey, I'm going to stop being selfish and I'm going to get selfless and I'm going to follow my purpose. And then when you follow your purpose, you get in a position where your life changes, and guess what you do? You go and reinvest that money back into what? Your passion. But your purpose must come first. That must come first. Seek that out. Even if it's hard, even if you don't like it. Even if you don't like doing the nitty and gritty things that gets you to get to your purpose, you need to find that and then come back and reinvest that and what you got into your passion. And I hope everybody gets that message and fully receives it. And thank you, Rodolfo, for your time. Thank you, PHP. We're going to keep playing offense and we're going to keep rejuvenating our communities.
I love it. I love it. Purpose, not only passion. I love it. Excellent. Okay. So guys, if you were able to listen to the podcast, that was phenomenal, by the way. We had Stephen Keshi, Stefan Keshi. Okay. I hope that I pronounced it correctly. Stefan Keshi today, killing it right now, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, leading an organization over there, leading his team, leading his family. And I believe that Keshi can be one of the giants, not only in the company, but in the industry. So phenomenal job. Now, for everybody listening over there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to listen to the podcast. You know, every Wednesday we have it at 2 p.m. and I post over there the questions. And by the way, any recommendation that you have or any guest that you like to have, post it over here in the comments. So with that being said, this is Rodolfo Vargas from PHP Agency. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. Bye-bye.